Hello. Thank you for pressing on this video. You get that piece of yarn string. Now that the introductory string gift has been given, let's get into it. You saw by the title, I'm reading Don Quixote. I wanted to make this video dedicated to this book because I've owned it for a long time and haven't read it until this point, obviously, and it was going to continue to sit there unless I motivated myself, and this video is doing that. It's pushing me to actually read it. Before I was too scared to because it's very long. I don't know if you can tell. It's 940 pages and the text is very small, so this is probably going to take me a while, but that's fine. So I've actually started reading this. I just read the prologue, which isn't even part of the novel really. It's just the author, Mr. Cervantes, introducing sort of, saying that this book is like his child, but then also being really self-deprecating about it. And I actually tabbed the first page, as you can see, because I've heard that this is a pretty funny book, so I wanted to keep track of like funny moments and stuff. And on the first page, when he was talking about this whole like, this book is my child thing, I was like, you're kind of funny. So I haven't really gotten into it yet, but I'm going to start right now. That's what I was planning on doing. I'm on page 31 because like the introduction and whatever things counted as pages. So technically I'm already 3% of the way through this book. And I'm gonna keep going. And I'm gonna update you. I don't know when. But this is going to be a journey that we are on together that hopefully will motivate you to pick up that book that you haven't picked up because you're scared of. And I'm here to tell you, don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of big books. Only be scared of them because they could be weapons, but not because they're long. Stick around for this awesome video. And if you don't, I'm gonna have to take that string I gave you back, because it's only for the cool people who watch the whole video. So maybe I should actually have given that to you at the end. So actually I'm just gonna take that back. What? You can have this little one. Here's a little one. Okay, I'm gonna read because so I'm 111 pages in now, which is that far, which doesn't look far at all, and it's not considering how long this book is. But I've added some more tabs. Like I said, the orange is like funny moments. The yellow is just for like new words, because sometimes when I'm annotating, I'll like write the definition of a word. I don't know. My favorite new word. Where was it? It was like yokel or something. Where is it? Yeah. Yokel. It's just, I don't know. I like the way it looks and sounds. It's not about the definition, but so that's the yellow. And then the blue ones are like for quotes or things that I like. And now that I'm a little bit in, I should like explain what this is even about. Obviously it's about Don Quixote, who's just this normal guy, but he loves to read, and he read so much. I actually have a quote here. He was reading a lot. That in short, he so buried himself in his books that he spent the nights reading from twilight till daybreak, and the days from dawn till dusk. And so from little sleep and much reading, his brain dried up and he lost his wits. So he basically, it's a little crazy now, and he's like, I'm gonna become a knight, like all these knights in the books that he's reading, and I'm gonna go on adventures and whatnot. So he's done that. He's gotten into some mischief, and everyone who meets him, except for his squire, he has a squire now, everyone is like, you're crazy. But it's going pretty good so far. It's just been a couple days, and I'm like 100 pages in, so I think that's pretty good. But I'm a little worried about like my interest being held, just because it's so long, and I'm pretty sure like the whole plot is just him being a silly guy. So it's like, is all of this, like, am I gonna get bored of that? I'm not sure, but as long as I'm like staying focused while I'm reading and like not, you know, thinking of other things or being distracted, it is keeping my attention. But I've just kind of had issues of like motivation to just even read, and like sometimes when you're reading you're just like thinking about other things. But I want to try and finish this, like not quickly necessarily because it's so long, but I don't want to take forever. So like I want to read a little bit every day at least, but that also makes me feel like it's a task more than just like for fun. Like I've never been good with like setting goals for reading, like by page count or like chapters really. But I'm determined to read this and finish this video. But there's a lot to go. Hello. This is the angle we're going with because the window is, oh, what's happening? So we're using this angle because the window is really giving the most light in this room. It's very dark, and I'm trying not to have this whole video be dark. So I've read about 50 more pages, and I just wanted to, so I've read a little bit more, and I just wanted to talk about Sancho Panza a little bit, which is Don Quixote's squire, or like his sidekick. I just wanted to say things about him because I'm quite liking his character, at least compared to Don Quixote. Not that I dislike him, it's just like he's just ridiculous Obviously, that's what is driving this story, is his delusion about being a knight. But I just like Sancho because he's not that he's intelligent, because he believes Don Quixote and like follows him in this like weird adventure, and he left his wife and children to do that. So like he's not the smartest, but he does have some reason that Don Quixote lacks. Yeah, I know, it's crazy stuff. For example, they just got beat up, which they get beat up a lot, and they're like laying on the ground, I'm pretty sure, and Sancho is complaining about the pain, and Don Quixote says, "For all that, brother Panza, let me tell you that there's no memory which time does not efface, nor any pain that death does not destroy." And Sancho replies with, "But what misfortune could be worse than one that waits for time to efface it and death to destroy it?" And I just read that and obviously agreed, and like felt that the way that he thinks about life, or his mindset, is just more reasonable. Obviously Don Quixote's not reasonable, but Sancho is like trying to hold him to earth a little bit and be like, "Okay, dude, I don't want to be in pain forever. That's not the way to go about life." Like, so I'm quite liking him. I do like them as a duo together. I think they're funny. What do you think, Bean? I think Bean's upset there's no cat characters so far, so there should be cats. Also, Sancho is just a very loyal character. Like, he stands by Don Quixote through all this stuff that he goes through. Like, every time they see an inn, Don Quixote's like, "It's a castle." And Sancho's like, "It's an inn, but okay." And somehow he's like still with him and believes in him and like his goal and like this whole night adventure thing. So he's solid. Don Quixote has maybe a solid brain, like it's just a rock or something. I'm wearing my new cardigan. Do I look smart? Whoa, that was crazy. You're crazy. It's crazy. I'm scared. I'm scared of how crazy you are. Whoa. So I'll see you once I've read more of Don Quixote. I'm thinking I'll get to, there's like a part 1 and a part 2, so once I get to part 2, maybe I'll update, but that's at like page 450 or something, so I'm gonna have to read quite a bit more. But it's going good. I didn't really say, did I say that? I mean, I said it's good. So I made it to part 2, and I read the prologue for part 2, so I'm on page 471, which is actually a little bit more than halfway, I think. And there's just some things that I wanted to talk about. So the first one just being a thought I had about Don Quixote being the equivalent to current day TikTok girls who romanticize their lives and make themselves the main character, because that's exactly what he's doing. So if you're that type of person, maybe you should read this book. I also wanted to say that since the last time I've updated, Sancho has gotten more delusional, so what I was saying before isn't as accurate now, but it does kind of make it funnier, or funny in a different way. The dynamic now between them and then the other characters, because there are quite a few other characters that have become important in the story, and we hear a lot about their lives, and those parts of this book are a lot more dramatic and emotional and add like serious parts to this, so it's not just funny, there is like some dramatic storylines going on. So I did want to say that, and I am enjoying all those parts. Like, they're very engaging and made me want to keep reading, which is good because I was a little scared about that, like setting a goal for myself every day to read a certain amount, because I'm usually not good with that, but it has been going well, and I've been reading more than like 4 chapters a day, which is kind of like the goal that I set, so that's good. So I'm gonna keep going. Not sure when I'll next update. Whenever I have thoughts, I guess. I'm gonna try and get at least like a good more in to the book. I'm currently I'm on page 666, which I think is about like 70% of the way through. You can see I've tabbed a lot more. I haven't stayed with my daily reading. I got off track a little bit, and I'm not really worried about reading a certain amount every day anymore, just because I don't know, I was feeling pressured to finish it by a certain date, but now I'm just planning to finish it before the end of the month, which I can definitely do. So there's that. And the only thing that I wanted to confirm is that Sancho is my favorite character, and that I kind of love him. Kind of a place for him in my heart. There. You can't really see it. Whatever. I mean, you can't really see through my body anyway, but that's what I have to say. I have still quite a bit to go, but it's fun. I'm still enjoying it. It is still a very funny book. So, I mean, really, I'm recommending it right now. Do you see that? Do you see how there's no bookmark in this book? Because I finished it, so I no longer need a bookmark. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that. I'm really tired right now. But it's fine. We're gonna talk about this book because I finished 940 pages. We're gonna start with the bad things, so we can get that over with, right? This book was written and takes place during a time of religious dominance, an attempt at religious dominance. I mean, that's kind of literally every time period in Europe, but it's fine. In Spain, everyone was Catholic, or that's what they wanted everyone to be. In 1502, the Spanish crown forced any Muslim citizens to convert to Christianity, or, attempted to. Did that really work? No. But then, 100 years later, about, when this book was written around and when it takes place in, 1609, anyone who was still practicing Islam was exiled, expelled, banished, forced to leave Spain. And that historical event is referenced in this book. There's a family who are, I think they say they're banished from Spain. But that's the historical context, because I felt it was needed. Because what I'm saying is that I felt like there is a lot going on with religion and talk implications. I mean, it was more than implied that Christianity is superior, and just some depictions or things said about Muslims, or more specifically the Muslims of northwestern Africa, because that is right near Spain. So we did have African Muslim characters, but the ones that were more important to the story, or were actually characters, they all converted to Christianity, basically, and it wasn't really for reasons of being accepted or being able to stay in Spain, which would make sense during this time, right? But it was, the characters spoke about it more in a way where Christianity was superior, was the way to go, in a way that was questionable. It's what? Does this make sense? Is any of what I just said made sense? Secondly, there were 2 parts in this book, and I definitely didn't enjoy part 2 as much as I enjoyed part 1, being for the new characters that we were introduced to and followed, sort of. I didn't like them. The Duke and the Duchess. No, I didn't like them. And then also just because Don Quixote and Sancho are much more stagnant in part 2, there's less moving around, and I guess less adventures in the way that they had adventures in the first part, if that makes sense. It was really just personal preference for me. I just enjoyed the first part of the book where they were moving around, doing stuff. It felt very knight, because he's a knight. Though, overall, I really did enjoy this book, and one thing that I thought was good was the accessibility. Very readable. I didn't have a hard time, understanding things or just reading it, so I thought the translation was good. The humor translated well, I knew what was happening. I read the one translated by J.M. Cohen. Obviously, I can't compare to other translations. I haven't read them, but I felt like this one was good. And I do have to say that when I finished this, I was actually sad that it had a sad and emotional ending, but I was also just kind of sad that it was over because I had grown to love the adventures of Don Quixote and Sancho and their horse and donkey, who were probably the best characters, to be honest. I feel like I said everything I wanted to say, but very badly. But it's fine. So if you made it this far, you get your string back. So here you go. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry I took it away from you earlier. I just felt like you needed to earn it a little bit, and you did. So overall, I would recommend this book. And I thought it was good, and I gave it 4 stars, and I'll miss it a little bit. But I can also move on, because let's be real, when you're reading a long book, there's like a weight literally on you, like this. But now the weight has been taken off of me and I'm free to read other things. But it was good. It was good. Read it or don't, or read what you want. Hopefully this motivated you or did something for you. Hopefully you got something out of this. But if you didn't get anything out of this, that's sad, I guess. So now I get to place Don Quixote on my shelves and not look at it for a long time.